Hello ladies and gentlemen, Nick here. Welcome to this Aimless Wanderings vlog for The Search for Ireland. The Search for Ireland story, David's Grave. So in this story, we actually get 3 mini-stories in one. A bit like what we got with Jim, except this time it's not really tied in with the overall plot of the story. They're just stories a space oracle is telling, a so-called space oracle. So the main plot of this story is the Doctor and David kicks the TARDIS, so because he's in anger, because he's a bit pissed off about not being able to go to Ireland. So they go to Ireland in the future, or what appears to be Ireland in the future, where David is dead and there's a space oracle there to tell the tale, or rather, tales. The first tale, subtitled The Game of Thorns, which is the first and currently only story by David McLaughlin, apart from one for David's Pint, and that story will be like this one. Well, sub-story, I'm not sure, but the overall story should be like this if it's another 3 mini-stories in one, and I think the same, it's going to be David, Joel H. Jolson and Billy Tracy again, doing the mini-stories for that. So anyway, in Game of Thorns, David and the Doctor are in a historical setting and they're going through a forest, but David accidentally falls off a cliff and the Doctor can't rescue him and he falls to his death of thorn bushes. Despite being only a 7-foot drop, David is allergic to thorns, so he dies. However, this turns out to not be true, as David actually isn't really allergic to thorns. So the second, the Space Oracle claims this is a test, so they go on to the second story, Let Zygons Be Bygons. This is my favourite of the 3, by the way. And yeah, this story pretty much, as it says on the tin, sees the Doctor and David on a cruise, again in the early 20th century, so another historical setting. This time we've got a alien to deal with, as the waiter turns out to be a Zygon, and David accidentally stumbles across a Zygon base, and the Zygons are planning to kidnap guests and copy them and then pose as them when they get to land. Then they knock out David, and then the Doctor knocked one of the Zygons who's forgot to reform back. So then he goes down to face the other Zygons and rescue David. But they all turn into David in order to escape. So the Doctor shoots the wrong ones. He asks them questions and shoots the wrong answers. He also accidentally shoots the right David at the end. Accidentally, in the classic, I have had enough of these mother-flipping Zygons on this mother-flipping cruise liner. Bang! Oh, ploppers, that was the real one. Again, this turns out to be a test, firstly, the Doctor doesn't use a gun apart from here. So he uses a gun in this story, but he doesn't really do it. Also, David thought that the Doctor throwing a Zygon wasn't very plausible, even though the Doctor did. But as you can tell, this is not the real story, as the Doctor basically assassinates. He pretty much murders a whole bunch of Zygons. I can't say they didn't deserve it, but that's not the Doctor's way. He does make a funny line about how there's enough Zygons for a 5-a-side football team, and he could have brought his other incarnations, some of his other selves. So that's funny, I suppose. The last story is Timerash. Yes, you could probably tell where they got that title from, and the same for the other 2. So this one is basically a parody of Timerash, where instead of a parody of Timerash, where instead of this kind of time gateway thing, there's an actual rug, and people on this planet are pulled across it to get a nasty rash for punishments for various reasons. Including, for some reason, their ruler has been in the time rush as well for some reason, but maybe he accidentally fell on it and slipped or something. Maybe it was an old punishment for him in the old, before he became in charge or something. But anyway, the Doctor and David land there. They're immediately arrested for no apparent reason apart from because. And so they're taken to Bog Roll, and then David makes some comments about him, so they're both taken to have a rash. But David's like, this is nonsense, I'm off. And then he gets shot. The thing is, David here is Scottish. And he's played by Joel H. Jolson. So, of course, this turns out to be a fake story as well. That's the real story. And it turns out that the Space Oracle is not really a Space Oracle, nor is he Irish. And they're not really at David's grave. He's actually a television presenter for a TV show about space prank, called Space Prank Central, and they've been basically pranking them. But they couldn't really convince them that they were at David's grave, so they just give up. And David takes his grave with him when they go. So, yeah, great stuff. In this audio, fantastic adventures. Loving the kind of the tales the Space Oracle tries to tell, but turns out getting it all wrong. So, in the end, he just gives up and tells them the truth. So, overall, I'm going to give this story a 9 out of 10. It's so much fun, so much entertainment, and yeah, it's really well written. So, that's David's Grave. Next time we'll be looking at the Doctor Museum. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.